It's a surprisingly quiet week in TJPW, but it's truly the calm before the storm, as next weekend we'll see Summer Sun Princess and the start of the Tokyo Princess Cup. We have one show to review today, ready to explode. We'll sink our teeth into part 1 of our Tokyo Princess Cup preview, and we'll wish a pair of happy birthdays to Mahiro, Kiryu, and Shino, Suzuki. All that and more coming up on the Tokyo Joshi Pod. Stay tuned. Hello to all you big children out there. Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Tokyo Joshi Pod, your weekly dose of everything TJPW. I'm your host, Andy Zyke, and honestly, get ready for a shorter episode this week because TJPW is basically going dark for the next week. We don't have any more shows until Summer Sun Princess on July 18th, over a week away from today. It's not all doom and gloom, though. We have plenty of stuff that we can touch upon today. We will review that final stop on the road to Summer Sun Princess, which was called Ready to Explode, Summer Sun Princess 2-6, on the brink of explosion. We'll see if anybody exploded last weekend. We'll also cover the full Summer Sun Princess card announcement. We won't do a full deep dive. We'll save that for next week, but we'll talk through all of the matches that have been announced. There's some pretty big ones in there as well. We're also going to do one half of our Tokyo Princess Cup preview. I say one half because originally I intended for this week to be a little bit more exciting with the Tokyo Princess Cup coverage, but unfortunately TJPW didn't reveal the bracket, or at least the wrestler seating, up until just this morning. Today is Thursday, so unfortunately was not able to coordinate quite what I wanted to do, but don't fret. Next week during part 2, we've got a lot of fun stuff cooking. I'll talk more about that in just a second, but we will do the first half of the Tokyo Princess Cup preview today, and then we have a couple of excursions we're going to talk about, a couple of birthdays as well. It's been a while since we've had a birthday. Speaking of birthdays, I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July, America's 250th birthday. Of course, if you are in America, you celebrate that. Hopefully you all stayed cool and ate some really great food. And if you are not in America, if you're one of my international listeners, I hope you had just as good of a weekend. Believe it or not, I have actually really gotten into the World Cup over the last couple of weeks. Now, I still know next to nothing about world football, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert or anything like that, but I really did enjoy watching some of the USA games. I know USA is not particularly good at soccer, and I think they showed that this year. But nonetheless, it was fun to just kind of watch it and just be a part of this like international phenomenon that is the World Cup. I've also watched a couple of the other games too. Like I know a little bit about a player here or there, like which countries are particularly good. So it's been fun, especially as it gets like closer and closer to like I don't know if you call them medal games or like placement games or whatever, like the actual final games. It just gets more exciting. So I've been like loosely following that over the last couple of weeks. Also, before we get started with today, I have one quick housekeeping note. If you are a fan of Talk Joshi, and honestly, who doesn't love Matt Turner and Andy Header, I'll be appearing on their show next week. We're planning to do a full Summer Sun Princess preview, so make sure you check that out once it drops next week. And have a listen to all the other great work those guys are doing over there too at Talk Joshi. They are truly, truly some of the hardest workers in the podcast game. With those bits and bobs out of the way, I want to just thank all of you again for tuning in this week. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. TJPW announced the full Summer Sun Princess card. Now, like I said in the intro, we're not going to do a full preview right here and now this week. We're going to preview Summer Sun Princess next week. Of course, I also will be appearing on Talk Joshi as well to preview it. So you'll have a whole lot of preview coverage coming your way next week. But I do want to briefly run through the match card because there's some pretty newsworthy developments here. Going into this announcement, we did know our 3 main title matches. Yuki Arai defending the Princess of Princess title against Miyu Yamashita. Daydream officially now defending the Princess Tag titles against Kiraku Kiyome, and then Suzume defending her International Princess title against Wakana Uehara. On top of that, we knew about a very, very special singles matchup between Aja Kong and Arisu Endo, one heck of a match. And then just last week, Yuki Kamifuku's match was also announced during her retirement press conference. Maybe it was shortly after her retirement press conference, but she's a part of a 6-person tag. Kamifuku will tag up with Sakura Hattori and Kumadori, and they're going to take on the team of Mahiro Kiryu, Sanshiro Takagi, and Yumehito Imanari. In addition to the Kamifuku 6-person tag, there is also a 6-woman tag that we knew about. Himawari, Mifu Ishida, and making her TJPW debut, Shin Sakura Hirota. They're going to take on the trio of Rakupam and Chika Nanase. Complementing those 6 matches that we know about are 3 new matches that have been added to this supersized card. So we will have a total of 9 big-time matches on this Corcoran Hall show. Those 3 new matches will be a tag team contest. Prism Greed will be teaming together to take on a very fun team of Toga and Mirai. So we finally know Mirai's match here. It is not a special singles match. It is not a title challenge like I initially thought, but we get one heck of a slot here for Mirai. A few months ago, when Mirai and Toga faced off for the International Princess title, I remember thinking to myself, I might have even said it on the show, Toga and Mirai in an alternate universe would be one heck of a tag team. Well, it's coming to pass here, so I am super excited to see how those two work together. They seem to have somewhat of a similar style, I would say. A lot of lariats, a lot of kind of hard-hitting action, hard-hitting strikes. So really looking forward to that. Another tag team contest will see the debut of Momosato, the 15-year-old idol performer. I guess technically re-debut, right? I keep forgetting about the Battle Royal. But Momosato is going to team up with fellow rookie Shion Kanzaki. They're going to be taking on the team of Ren Kanatsu, the 2025 rookie, and then Uda Takami, the 2024 Next Gen tournament winner. So a match of younger generation competitors. I think this will be a lot of fun. Was really impressed with Momosato from what I saw of her in the Battle Royal. So I'm very excited to see how she translates that into more of a traditional match. And then the final contest, it was originally announced that Mizuki would have a special singles contest against Sweet Secret. Now, this was just a placeholder before TJPW announced whoever this mystery opponent would be. I saw a heck of a lot of speculation online, everyone from Yuka Sakazaki to Andreza Giant Panda's wife. I think her name is Tintin, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that would have been a heck of a lot of fun to almost have his wife come and enact revenge for Mizuki beating Andreza Giant Panda with a hammer. But alas, it was none of the above. We had a little bit of a surprise announcement. Willow Nightingale just made her return, I believe, this week back to action. She was out of action for a while with an injury, and she just made her return this week onto AEW Dynamite. And here she is. In a week's time, she's going to be on TJPW Summer Sun Princess. We haven't seen Willow in quite a while in TJPW. I'd have to do my research and prepare for next week to talk about just how long it's been. But I know that she had a singles contest against Miyu Watanabe previously, so I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, Mizuki is going to have a little bit of a size disadvantage here against Willow, so really curious to see how Mizuki approaches a competitor quite like Willow Nightingale. So one heck of a show here. 9 matches, July 18th, Corcoran Hall. For us in the States, it will be the night of July 17th. That will be a Friday night. In Japan, this is happening on Saturday the 18th. I'm really looking forward to this. Like I've said a couple of times now, next week we will do our full preview where we talk about the title contests. I'll make my picks for who I think is going to win, and we'll kind of dive more into the storylines and all of the goings-on behind each of these matches. Also, like I mentioned, check out the Talk Joshi feed because I will be appearing with Matt and Andy over on their show, kind of doing a similar preview. But what I like to do is whenever I make an appearance with Matt and Andy, I try to bring as much as I can to their show And then for the preview on the Tokyo Joshi Pod, I try to differ it a little bit and just add some different colors so you guys can then enjoy both. You don't have to choose, you can enjoy both and get something out of both of them. So stay tuned to your podcast feeds next week for all of that good stuff. Also in the news this week, TJPW officially hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's a pretty big milestone for perhaps you would say like the second or third largest Joshi company in Japan. Very niche interest wrestling, and then Joshi wrestling, and then specifically the type of wrestling that TJPW is. So I do think that 100 YouTube subscribers is quite the accomplishment for TJPW. They are going to celebrate by having a live stream on Saturday, July 11th. A number of talent are going to be participating on it. That includes Miyu Yamashita, Mizuki, Rika Tatsumi, Haru Kazushiro, Ren Kanatsu, and then Rise Shirai will be the MC. This is something that TJPW has been pushing for quite a while. Not the live stream part, but the 100 subscribers part. They were really trying to cross that threshold. They were relying a lot on their American audiences and really promoting, hey, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where they put that behind the scenes documentary for Grand Princess. They put a lot of free matches up there for a little while, a lot of other fun content. So if you are not one of these 100,000, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the TJPW YouTube page. Some of the stuff that's going to be happening on this live stream, they're going to be opening up the silver play button that they received from YouTube. They're going to chat a little bit about Summer Sun Princess. They teased that there might be a special guest or two involved, and then just some other various activities as well. So this is a nice way to kind of whet your appetite for TJPW when we don't have a show this coming weekend. So there's still plenty to do, plenty to check out and watch with TJPW this weekend. The last bit of news I want to touch on this week, we have 2 birthdays. It has been quite a while since we've had a birthday, a few months I want to say, but we have 2 upcoming this week. On July 13th, that is Monday, Mahiro Kiryu will be celebrating her birthday. So a big happy birthday to Mahiro Kiryu. Mahiro is such a delight to watch. I hope that she continues wrestling for a very long time. She's very good at it. And I hesitate before I say that because I know some of you are going to say like, well, she's no Suzume, she's no Mizuki, she's no Yamashita. And totally fair. But I always say, there's so much more to wrestling besides just being able to have a run in between the ropes. There is comedy, there is charisma, there is character. There's more than just things that start with C, but that's just seems to be where my head is going right now. But Mahiro Kiryu is just so talented in that regard and so entertaining to watch. We talked a lot about Mahiro in the Hype bonus episode last month. Go check that out on your podcast feeds if you haven't already. But just such a talented performer and always getting into some sort of trouble, or maybe the trouble finds her, maybe is the better way to say it. She adds so much to the TJPW roster, so a very, very happy birthday to Mahiro Kiryu on Monday the 13th. And then just 2 days later, on Wednesday the 15th, Shino Suzuki will be celebrating her 28th birthday. Of course, Shino still out of action on her leave of absence. Really hoping that we can see Shino sooner rather than later. She's also a delight to watch, and as I watch more and more Up Girls performances week after week, Shino is certainly missing. It is very odd to me still to see only 3 Up Girls, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm sending positive vibes Shino Suzuki's way. Hopefully we will see her back in the ring, back on the stage, a little bit sooner rather than later, but a happy 28th birthday to Shino Suzuki on Wednesday the 15th. Last weekend, we did have one show, our final show on the road to Summer Sun Princess, the go-home show, if you will. That's the insider lingo. This one had a terrific name, Ready to Explode, Summer Sun Princess 2-6 on the brink of explosion. Very, very fitting because this show took place on Saturday, July 4th. For us in America, that is a day that is usually filled with a lot of explosions. I don't think this was planned whatsoever. Obviously, they don't celebrate the 4th of July in Japan, but I just thought it was a nice bit of timing. This show went down from the Shinkiba first ring. It was live, and all in all, about 2 hours of a show. No absences on this card outside of Shino Suzuki, of course. And TJPW ended up selling out the Shinkiba first ring. They drew 275 attendees. The last time TJPW was here was back in March of this year, actually for one of their go-home shows for Grand Princess. That is before they went on tour in Texas. Prelude to Grand Princess went down in March, where they drew 284. So right around that same number. Both of these numbers are considered a sellout, so it's nice to see TJPW. I think they're on a string of the last 2 or 3 shows that they've sold out the venues, so that's always a very encouraging pattern to see. We opened up with Rise Shirai giving some remarks and the house rules, and the Up Up Girls came out and sang Momentary Idol Memorial. Our opening match, a tag team contest, Haru Kazushiro teamed up with Chika Nanase. They took on the young duo of Shion Kanzaki and Ren Kanatsu. Haru and Ren started us out with a little bit of chain wrestling before they tagged out to Chika and Shion. Ren stuck around. She ended up helping Shion do the Shion Ganbare spot in the corner. Thought that was kind of a nice variation on that move. And then the two rookies were hitting some double team attacks. That didn't last for too long. Shion ended up eating a lot of offense from Haru before she finally managed to tag Ren back in. Ren locked in the shoulder bites submission. She taunted Chika a little bit, so a little bit of fire there from Ren. Haru managed to counter out of the shoulder bites into an armbar, tagged Chika back into the ring, who hit a few stiff elbows on Ren. Ren was able to make a quick tag to Shion, who briefly had the upper hand against Chika, but Chika managed to outpower her, lift her into the modified Inari Tori for the submission victory in 11 minutes and 28 seconds. Our next match was a 3-way match, Yuki Kamifuku versus Raku versus Kira Summer. This is Kira's final match in TJPW before her Australian excursion, which will last just around a month, I think. Raku started this one out sitting out in the crowd, so Kamiyu decided to take a quick nap using her pillow. Kira tried to go for the silent cover, but Kamifuku was just pretending. She ended up rolling up Kira. That's how we got started here. Raku was quite mad that someone was using her pillow. Wouldn't you be? It's kind of gross, I guess. And then she ended up jumping back in, but Kamiyu hits her with the pillow, calls her an idiot, very rude behavior. Those two, though, they quickly make up. They do a joint Oyasumi Express on Kira. They continue working together until Kira starts to use her strength to overpower both of them. Raku eats a very hard chop, but she managed to continue double-teaming Kira with the help of Kamiyu. Kamiyu gets a little upset when Raku goes for a pin attempt, though, and that slight miscommunication allowed Kira to begin getting the better of Kamiyu very, very briefly, but Kira can't seem to muster any prolonged offense in this match. She ends up falling victim to an octopus stretch from Kamiyu. All three of them start trading offense, Kamiyu landing the jumping leg drop onto Raku, and then that kind of knocks Raku out of the equation. She sets up Kira Summer, hits her with the Famouser, and wins this contest in 6 minutes and 25 seconds. Afterwards, a brief tussle over the pillow breaks out between Kamiyu and Raku, and Kamiyu threatened to use some of those ninja skills that she picked up from Sakura the other week. But good thing it didn't have to come to that. Raku would have been in some serious trouble. Next up, we had another tag match. Mizuki and Uda Takami were teaming together. They took on the team of Mahiro Kiryu and Pom Harajuku. Pom enters carrying what I would describe as a small tree. She starts by asking Mizuki and Uda to write down their wishes and then stick them onto this tree. Apparently, this is something related to the Tanabata festival in Japan. I'm not super culturally familiar with that festival. If you are, please let me know a little bit more about it. But apparently this is all related to the Tanabata festival that is upcoming. As they go to hang their wishes, Pom and Mahiro use this as an excuse to attack them from behind. Of course, it was Pom. Very, very mischievous. That allows Mahiro to go to work on Uda to start us off. Pom then tags in, and Pom continues this mischievous and honestly quite rude behavior by ripping Uda's wish off the tree and then tearing it up into pieces right in front of her. How can you do that to Uda? That's so mean. Mizuki is MIA at this point, also thanks to Pom. I guess Pom kind of led her into the back somewhere, so Uda can't tag out during any of this insanity that's going on. Pom and Mahiro take turns. They continue double-teaming Uda until some slight miscommunication allows Uda to get the upper hand. Mizuki comes sprinting back just in the nick of time. She tags in, has a nice exchange with Mahiro. The two teams are trading offense for a little bit, but Pom accidentally hits Mahiro with the tree. She grabbed the tree. Obviously, she was going to hit Mizuki and Uda with it. They used some of their craftiness, got out of the way, and wouldn't you know it, Mahiro, we just talked about her during her birthday shout out. Mahiro gets clubbed with the tree, and that ultimately was the beginning of the end for the team of Pom and Mahiro. Mizuki and Uda lock in some stereo submissions, the Koala Clutch and the Southern Cross, and Pom ends up tapping out to the Southern Cross in 8 minutes and 25 seconds. We then left the undercard and we had 3 preview tag matches for each of our upcoming title defenses at Summer Sun Princess. The final preview matches for each of these. First up, the International Princess preview tag, our 4th one on this International Princess preview road. Daisy Monkey were teaming together. So Suzume had a very familiar partner in her corner in Arisu Endo. They took on the team of Wakana, of course, and then Toga was Wakana's partner. I thought that was a little interesting because just last month or a month or so ago, TJPW pit Toga and Wakana against each other in a singles contest and tried to play up this rivalry that they have. Of course, that did not come into play here. Quite frankly, because I don't think there really is a rivalry there. I don't think they have the grounds to stand on. I said a lot of that as we talked about that singles match. For the record, Wakana always has has the upper hand on Toga in all of those singles contests. But I just thought that was an interesting pairing that they put these two together. Like I said, 4th International Princess preview tag. Suzume is the one that owns a slight edge here, 2-1 over Wakana, but no direct pinfalls on either side. Wakana and Suzume start, but neither can gain the upper hand before they tag out. Toga and Arisu have a short exchange that's followed by Wakana and Arisu. Then we're very quickly back to Suzume and Wakana again. Suzume locks in a submission. Daisy Monkey begin doing their rapid tagging in and out. Wakana manages to catch her breath, finds a brief open window to tag Toga in, who uses her size to easily start to get control of Suzume. Toga and Arisu then have a nice power exchange, with Arisu managing to land a water wheel suplex. I thought that was pretty nice. Wakana and Arisu then mix it up, but Suzume interferes. She tags herself back in. She manages to land a diving crossbody and a facebuster, but Wakana catches the ring-a-bell and counters that into an enziguri. She forearms Suzume to the mat. She locks in the banana pillow. Arisu jumps in. She breaks it up with a really stiff thrust kick right to Wakana's head. She lines up for a second one, but Wakana moves and Arisu accidentally kicks Suzume in the head. Toga hops in to quickly handle Arisu, but Suzume manages to recover enough to connect with the ring-a-bell. Very surprising at how fast Suzume was able to get her bearings after that thrust kick. Wakana does kick out of that ring-a-bell pinfall attempt. Suzume goes for a second ring-a-bell, but Wakana again stuffs it, gets in the banana pillow for a second time. Arisu is nowhere to be found this time thanks to Toga, and Suzume taps out at 12 minutes and 37 seconds. Afterwards, we got some brief side eyes between Wakana and Suzume. Backstage, Suzume said that Wakana finally took something from her and she exceeded the level of strength that she expected, but rather than feeling discouraged, this makes her want to beat Wakana more than ever, and Suzume said that she may even be getting a little bit hungry herself. Wakana mentioned that she was pleased that she was finally able to capture a win thanks to her own hands, and now she sees a very clear path to victory at Summer Sun Princess. Our semi-final contest of the evening was a 6-woman tag. This is our 5th Princess Tag Title preview match. Daydream teamed up with Himawari. They took on Kiraku Kiyome and Yuki Aino. Kiraku Kiyome holds an overwhelming advantage. They've picked up 3 victories in these preview matches, and there's also been 1 draw. In those 3 victories, Misao has managed to pin Miyu Watanabe, and Shoko Nakajima has managed to pin Rika Tatsumi. Misao got on the microphone to start us off, of course. She referenced Rika, who said that last week she lost on purpose. Misao said that she didn't quite believe that. She doesn't think that Rika is prepared enough for the task at hand, this upcoming title defense. Misao said that she is so prepared for that match that she actually went out and cut a lot of her hair. Her hair was a little bit shorter than it normally is here, and she did that in preparation for this match, and therefore she is totally ready to win. Now, you might be thinking, what does that have anything to do with preparing for this match? I read something online that this may or may not be a callback to a number of years ago. I think it said like 2018, where Rika Tatsumi was challenging for a title and decided to like dramatically cut her hair very short. So there's a theory that maybe Misao was kind of referencing that or poking fun at that. And that theory is a little bit supported because right when she made all these statements, Rika was really upset by this. She didn't care about anything Misao was saying, and she started off the match by just kicking her in the middle of these pre-match comments. Now, of course, Rika could just be doing that because she's Rika, and to quote Super Sasadango Machine, she is psychopathic in her wrestling style. Could be either, could be both. Regardless, Rika didn't really care about any of the nonsense that Misao was spewing, and she kicked Misao in the back. We started off the match. She ended up choking Misao with the mic cord. Daydream and Himawari are taking turns just kind of beating up and choking Misao. Himawari using her hair to choke Misao. Eventually, Misao manages to whip out a couple of cold sprays in retaliation. That allows Kyoraku Kiyome and Yuki Aino to spend more than a considerable amount of time on the attack of Himawari before Himawari manages to get Miyu Watanabe in there. Watanabe and Aino have a pretty nice power exchange that really flashed me back to their title match last October. I still really like that match. I think that one's kind of an under-the-radar watch. That's followed up with Watanabe and Misao, and then a very nice long stretch between Rika and Misao. Miyu and Shoko get in there. Miyu does quite well, keeping up with Shoko's quick pace. I was pleasantly surprised at how fast Miyu was moving in her exchange with Shoko. Things then break down immensely between the two tag teams, plus Aino and Himawari start getting involved with one another. Shoko eventually goes for a 619. Miyu manages to dodge it. She tries to go for the Canadian backbreaker, but Shoko counters. She attempts a second 619. This time Miyu catches her. She hoists her up into a teardrop and then very quickly gets the win in 13 minutes and 41 seconds. Afterwards, Shoko goes in for a handshake, but she ends up grabbing at the tag belt instead, and there's a little bit of a brief skirmish before Rika has to shoo them out of the ring. Backstage, Daydream said that Kyoraku Kiyome threw so many tricks at them over the last few weeks that they are now no longer scared for what they might face at Summer Sun Princess. They feel more than ready for whatever Kyoraku Kiyome have up their sleeve. Kyoraku Kiyome state that they actually lost this match on purpose because they felt Daydream's morale was so low after losing so many of the other preview matches. Now, obviously they are referencing Rika saying this last week, but I do think there's something to this. Rika saying she lost on purpose is sure, okay, Rika, you lost and you're upset about it. But honestly, Kyoraku Kiyome saying, yeah, we lost on purpose. We've already won 3 of these. Who cares? That has a little bit more weight to it. Obviously, I don't think that's what they mean. I think they're just poking fun at Rika, or continuing to poke fun at Rika, I should say. But I have to say, I've really enjoyed the build-up to this tag match. It's been silly, but not in a totally insanely silly way. It's just been, I guess, the Sasimata pulls maybe, right? But we haven't seen the Sasimata pulls for quite a while. So point being, I just have really enjoyed the build-up to this tag title match. Our main event was the 4th Princess of Princess preview tag match, and it was a reunion of 2 teams from the Max Heart tournament this year. On one side, our challenger Miyu Yamashita teamed up with her on-again, off-again partner Sakura Hattori. They technically are still Kick Slash, but they did talk about potentially finding a new name for that team eventually. On the other side, our Princess of Princess champion Yuki Arai teamed up with her Kyoto tag partner Mifu Ashita. Also a team that said they were going to search for a name and then kind of never did, so Kyoto tag, we're going to roll with that. Arai holds a slight edge in these preview tags 2-1, although similar to the International Princess title head-to-head, no direct pinfalls have been scored between Arai and Yamashita. Arai and Yamashita do start us out after they have a very long stare down. They tussle around briefly, but they quickly tag out. Mifu and Sakura trade some cartwheels, much to the delight of the crowd. The crowd was really into these cartwheels for some reason. Mifu had her pom-poms with her, and Sakura wanted nothing to do with that. She ended up tossing them outside of the ring. Mifu's back then took an incredible beating at both of the feet of Kick Slash. Somehow she survived that kick onslaught. She tagged in Arai, who has a go at Sakura. Sakura manages to swing the tide. She hits a Rakataicho forearm. She tags in Yamashita. Yamashita and Arai starts slugging it out. Yamashita comes out on top of that. Arai tries multiple times to get the Scorpion lock in, but Yamashita is able to continually block it and counter it. Arai dodges a return crush. She boots Miyu in the face, tags in Mifu, who really tries her darndest, but just continues to get the snot kicked out of her. Yamashita locks in a Cobra clutch, which Arai jumps in, tries to break it up to no luck. Sakura jumps in to kick Arai down. Mifu somehow manages to roll Miyu up as she's still in the Cobra clutch. She rolls Miyu up for 2. Yamashita answers with a return crush before Arai jumps in once again. Sakura meets her once more. Mifu has one last-ditch effort in landing a few kicks, and she tries for a German suplex, but Yamashita ends up wrestling her around in front, kicks her in the back of the head, lands an attitude adjustment. She lines up for the skull kick, and just when you thought that everything is over here for Mifu, Arai mercifully comes back in again, and she stops the skull kick. She ends up eating a stiff back roundhouse kick of her own. Yamashita then slaps Mifu back into the Cobra clutch, this time right in front of Arai on the mat, and Mifu finally quickly taps out at 14 minutes and 54 seconds. Afterwards, Yamashita taunted Arai for a little bit, and then she says, "This can't be all you've got, right? I'm going to plan to kick you down at Summer Sun Princess, and I will become the 5th Princess of Princess champion." Arai shouts from the outside of the ring that, "Hey, you can talk your talk. I'm currently still the champion." Yamashita and Sakura then close out the show with Yamashita vowing to become that 5th Princess of Princess champion at Summer Sun Princess. Backstage, Mifu apologized to Arai for not being quite good enough today. Arai praised her anyway and vowed that she will defend her title against Yamashita, becoming an even stronger champion. Mifu said that she would be cheering her on from the sidelines. Yamashita said that she knows Arai has much more to give than she did today, so she's not going to let her guard down as she prepares for July 18th. Okay, I think we are fully back on track now. We really only lost a step with the International Princess title match last week, but I think that this week's affair was definitely better than last week. Those two, Wakana and Suzume, got right back on track. I think this was a very strong bounce back for Wakana after she spent most of last week crying. Just odd stuff. I don't really know how that factored into the story, and now seeing the follow-up, I still don't know how that factored into the story, but regardless, a strong week for Wakana. I would say that they successfully got me back on board. I'm ready for that match now. The Princess Tag title preview tag was like a sprint of a match, and that said, it was awesome. I highly recommend you check out that semifinal from this show. It did end like very quickly, like right when I really felt like it was getting going. They went to the finish, and Watanabe ends up hitting that teardrop on Shoko. But still, heck of a great match. I think that Summer Sun Princess tag title match, that has the potential to be match of the night. The way that these two teams are working with each other here, I think that's going to be something really special. I don't know if the Sasamata polls will play a factor. They probably will, but I do think the match at Summer Sun Princess is going to be really good. The main event today was good as well. Mifu really took a beating, which I'm sure is mostly by design. That's probably how they lay out the match. But I mean, even Sakura was in there giving it to her for a while. Yamashita and Arai, I think, has really been built. They've really built to it nicely. That's what I'm trying to say. The rest of the show here, pretty solid. The undercard had a fair amount of comedy to it. And then there was that really nice opening next gen tag match. So overall, I would recommend this show. Certainly the semifinal match, probably even the main event as well. And I'd say I am really looking forward to all 3 of the major title matches at Summer Sun Princess. Now for our preview section this week, because we don't have a show this weekend, and it's a little bit too early to preview Summer Sun Princess, like I mentioned earlier in the show, what we're going to do instead is we're going to begin our preview of the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup. Now I say begin because I'd like to do a little bit of a preview here, and then continue this on into next week's episode. So just to give you to kind of set the stage here, we're going to talk through all of the competitors that have been announced today. We'll chat through how many times they've been a part of the Tokyo Princess Cup, if they've won before, how far along they've made it, kind of almost like a primer, if you will. And then literally just late last night, TJPW did the drawing for the bracket. So I will mention the first round matchups and I will mention who gets a bye, but I'm not going to make any selections yet. On next week's show, we will continue the preview and we will end up making selections for the entire bracket to see who we're going to pick to be the winner. And I'm also planning to have a few special guests, not just one, not just two, perhaps multiple special guests where kind of like March Madness style, we're going to go through the brackets and kind of get everybody's picks and just going to have a nice, like fun collaborative show. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. I hope you all enjoy that when that happens. I wanted to kind of do that this week and next week, but TJPW just took quite a while. I want to say quite a while, but they only released the bracket just like I say, just this week or just last night, I should say. So the scheduling for it just didn't work out. But alas, we do have one more show, one more week. So we're going to chat through all 24 participants, the biggest Tokyo Princess Cup to date. And then on next week's show, we will talk about the bracket in a little bit more detail. Going through these names in no particular order, we're going to start with Yuki Arai, our current Princess of Princess champion. Will she remain the Princess of Princess champion for the Tokyo Princess Cup? We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, the opening round will take place 2 days after Summer Sun Princess. They're wasting really no time. But Arai, this will be her 6th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She's made it to the semifinals 3 times before, most recently in 2025. I believe she lost to Arisu Endo, if I'm not mistaken, and that was during Arisu's like Cinderella run last year to the finals. I don't know if Arai has like a strong possibility to win this. Of course, she's a strong contender. But it would be interesting to see assuming that she retains her Princess of Princess championship, to see the Princess of Princess champion win this contest, especially when TJPW just did that with the Max Hard tournament, when Uber Eats, who were the tag champions at the time, won that tournament. That landed kind of like a mixed bag with some people. So again, assuming that Arai retains, but that just feels unlikely to me. Miyu Watanabe, her 8th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She won it last year in 2025. Could win it again. Of course, she's the current tag title champion, assuming that she retains those princess tag titles. Rika Tatsumi, her tag team partner. Rika's 10th Tokyo Princess Cup appearance. That's incredible. Rika has made it to the semifinals twice before, 2018 and 2023, but she's a pretty notable name that has not won the Tokyo Princess Cup. One of the 4 pillars and 10 appearances has never won this Tokyo Princess Cup. Maybe she's a dark horse candidate to win it this year, but again, if she is still tag champion when it comes to the opening round here, when it comes to the tournament, I just think it would be interesting to have a champion, interesting in like a way that I don't think they will do it. That's how I mean that. Interesting to have a champion win the tournament. It just doesn't feel like the way they would go, but I don't know. What do I know? Suzume, her 7th appearance. Suzume made it to the semifinals in 2022. I think Suzume is a strong candidate to win this. If you're out there picking Suzume, I think that's a total possibility. Miyu Yamashita, her 12th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She won it back in 2023. Always a threat to win a tournament, always a threat to win a championship. We'll have to see how her challenge goes a couple of days before the opening round, but I think you always have to have Yamashita in the mix. Here's an incredible one. Shoko Nakajima. Shoko Nakajima has been in every single Tokyo Princess Cup to date. This is going to be her 13th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She hasn't won it in quite a while. She won it all the way back in 2015, one of the very first few Tokyo Princess Cups. Maybe lightning strikes twice again and Shoko manages to win. I think, like Yamashita, Nakajima is always a threat to win a tournament. She's just that talented, but her Iron Man streak continues here. 13 straight Tokyo Princess Cup appearances. Hyper Misao will be making her 9th appearance. Misao made it to the semifinals all the way back in 2016, but since then she hasn't been as lucky, hasn't made it out of the second round. Misao, I don't know. Misao is definitely more of a comedy character. They've put the tag titles on her. And of course, they're challenging her in Shoko Nakajima. I think a lot of people out there would love to see a Misao like singles run or a title run with Misao, but I don't know. I'd need to kind of hear the argument more before I picked Misao. Wakana Uehara, her 3rd appearance here. She has not made it past the second round of the Princess Cup. I think depending on what happens with that International Princess title, Wakana could be an interesting selection. Mizuki also making her 9th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. Mizuki is the only 2-time winner in this year's field. She's won the Tokyo Princess Cup in 2019 and 2020, back-to-back years for Mizuki. I think just like the likes of Yamashita, Nakajima, Mizuki's always got to be in that conversation of someone who could win. Will she be a 3-time Tokyo Princess Cup winner? That would be astounding. I don't know if they go that route with Mizuki, but that would be a lot of fun. Yuki Aino will be making her 8th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She made it all the way up to the finals in 2024, but then ended up losing to Aniki Ryo Mizunami. I think Aino has a possibility to win here. I would love to see Aino get back into the Princess of Princess conversation, especially after that really great match. We just referenced it a moment ago against Miyu Watanabe back in the fall. I think it was Additional Attack. I think Aino is a really solid dark horse pick here. Raku will be making her 7th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. Raku has not made it out of the second round, and I don't think that is going to happen this year either. I'm sorry, I love Raku. Raku is one of my favorites, but I just don't see her winning a Tokyo Princess Cup anytime soon. Similarly, Palm Harajuku, her 5th appearance, she too has not made it past the second round. I also don't see that changing this year. Mahiro Kiryu will be making her 5th appearance. Mahiro has not made it past the second round. Mahiro is someone that's interesting. I don't know if she will ever quite be put into the Princess of Princess conversation, but she could have a couple of wins here, I think, under her belt. Here's someone who I think a lot of people are going to be picking, Arisu Endo, her 6th appearance in the Tokyo Princess Cup. She was the runner-up in last year's tournament, losing out to Miyu Watanabe. I think a lot of people are going to pencil in Arisu, and honestly, for good reasoning, I think that Arisu has just as much a chance as anybody to go far and perhaps even win this year's tournament. Sakura Hattori making her 4th appearance. Technically, it's her first appearance as Sakura, right? The other 3 were Kaya Toribami, but it will be Sakura's 4th appearance. Sakura has not made it past the first round. I would like to think that changes this year based on kind of how they've been positioning Sakura, but she has a very tough opening round draw, which we'll talk about in just a second. Himawari, it will be her 2nd appearance in the Princess Cup. She too has not made it past the first round. Toga will have her 2nd appearance in the Princess Cup. She has not made it past the second round. Haru Kazushiro will be making her 3rd appearance in the Princess Cup. She too has not made it past the second round. We will then round out the field with 6 first-time appearances in the Princess Cup. Those will include Mifu Ishida, Uda Takami, Chika Nanase, Ren Kanatsu, Shion Kanzaki, and yet to debut, but will be debuting 2 days before this show, or the first round, I should say, Momo Sato. Out of these 6 first-time appearances, I feel like Uda maybe is the only one who can make a little bit of noise and kind of go a couple of rounds, get a victory or 2. Momo Sato, I mean, she's debuting 2 days earlier. I don't think she's going to make a lot of noise. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it. Shion, I think, is too green. Ren, too green. I don't see them doing anything with Chika. Maybe Mifu gets a victory or 2, but I think out of these 6, Uda is probably the most likely to make a little bit of noise in the opening rounds. Now, speaking of the opening rounds, we do have the bracket, so I'm just going to read through the matchups again. Not going to make any picks today, saving that for next week. Going to be one heck of a lot of fun next week with all of the special guests that are lined up. The opening round matchups, all of these opening round matchups are going to be held on Monday, July 20th. This was done completely at random. There is a YouTube video up on the TJPW YouTube channel. Go be one of those 100,000 that are subscribed there, where they draw numbers at random. Now, I mean, if you really want to pull back the curtain, I don't know realistically how random it is, or I don't know how that works, but I'm just going to go with the explanation that the numbers are drawn at random here. The opening round, I'm going to go from the upper left of the bracket, and we'll go down the left side, and then we'll jump over to the upper right. So starting with the upper left, Uda Takami will take on Miyu Yamashita in the opening round. Have fun with that, Uda. That's going to be one heck of a tough challenge. If Uda does manage to beat Yamashita, getting a first round bye waiting in the second round will be Rika Tatsumi. Uda's got a heck of a draw there. The next first round matchup will be Raku taking on Mizuki, and then awaiting them in the second round with a bye will be Hyper Misao. Here's one of the first round matchups that I think a lot of people are really interested in, and I think it might break a lot of brackets too, depending on who you pick, but Arisu Endo will go up against Sakura Hattori. That's a brutal first round draw for both of them. Someone who is a favorite is going to be eliminated fairly early there. Waiting for them in the second round with a bye will be Chika Nanase. And then to round out the left side of the bracket, Wakana Uehara will be taking on Mifu Ishida, with Himawari waiting in the second round after the first round bye. Jumping up to the upper right side of the bracket, Toga will be taking on newcomer Momosato, and then waiting on in the second round will be Mahiro Kiryu getting that first round bye. Miyu Watanabe will take on Ren Kanatsu, with Yuki Aino waiting in the second round. I think that's a potential for a lot of people to see a rematch there, Miyu Watanabe and Yuki Aino. That could be a lot of fun unless Ren is able to pull off that upset. Suzume will take on Shion Kanzaki, and then waiting for them in the next round will be our ever-loving 3-year-old Pam Harajuku getting that first round bye. And then the final matchup in the bottom right of the bracket, Haru Kazushiro will go one-on-one with Yuki Arai. And in the second round, getting that first round bye is Shoko Nakajima. I think this is shaping up to be a fun tournament. Like I say, it is the biggest tournament that TJPW has ever done. 24 competitors. The entire roster is in this tournament, save for Kira, who was on excursion, Shino, who was out injured currently, and then Yuki Kamifuku, who has opted not to participate this year, but still, one heck of a bracket. All of those first round matchups will be on Monday the 20th, and then the tournament will proceed on to the 25th of July, the 8th of August, the 16th of August, and then the finals will be on the 23rd of August. I will make my picks next week, so if you'd like to print out the bracket, fill out your own bracket in the lead up to that, we can kind of compare as we go through. I love brackets. I love filling out brackets. I love March Madness. So that's why I'm so excited to kind of make my picks and see who I land at as my champion, and very, very excited for all the guests that I'm chatting with. And next week's episode is going to be a lot of fun. I highly encourage you to tune in as we do our second part of the Tokyo Princess Cup preview. But for now, we will leave the Tokyo Princess Cup where it lies, and we're going to jump on over into some graduates and excursions. There isn't too much going on in this world today, so we're just going to spend like a brief little pit stop here. On the graduate side of things, I want to mention Unagi Sayaka. Unagi, unfortunately, lost the tag titles that she holds in Diana back on Sunday, the 5th of July. Unagi, I think she held them with Haruka. They ended up losing their Diana tag titles just this past weekend. Unagi holds a variety of other titles, so I think she'll be just fine, but she did lose those Diana tag titles. And then in a bit of happier news than that, Yoshiko Hasegawa, aka Yappy recently announced that she has gotten married. Yappy's been retired now for, maybe a year or so, give or take. But Yappy announced that she has gotten married to Dan the Dad, and that she will be moving to America. This, for me personally, totally came out of left field. I don't know if this was public knowledge or not, but Yappy and Dan the Dad they make a cute couple, don't get me wrong, but it was not two people that I would have ever put together. Apparently Dan did a tour with Ganbare Pro and ended up meeting Yappy, and they just hit it off. And I mean, the rest is history. Now they got engaged, and now they're married, and now Yappy is moving to America. So congratulations to Yoshiko Hasegawa, Yappy. Yappy retired before the podcast started, so didn't really have too much time to talk about her. And since she's retired, she has not done any wrestling. She's really only appeared here and there on like Now Kakuta's YouTube channel. So it's been quite quiet. So we haven't had a lot of time to talk about Yappy. But very happy for her. The two of these people, Yappy and Dan, look over the moon at their marriage. So wishing them all the best. Very happy celebrations and congratulations to Yoshiko. A couple of quick updates on the excursions as well. Kira Summer on July 18th will not be at Summer Sun Princess. Instead, she will be starting her Australian excursion with Adelaide Championship Wrestling Heart of War. We know this is Kira's Australian debut, and her opponent has been announced for this show as well. It will be none other than her sister, Miki Fortune. Miki did, I think, wrestle in TJPW like once before. She came over and she might have even, I think she tagged with Kira if I'm not mistaken. But this will be a sister versus sister match, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if this is streaming yet or if it's going to be recorded or not. I'm still kind of searching for that information, but we'll definitely cover it if it is viewable, because I think this will be a lot of fun. Obviously, Kira's debut in her home country, but then wrestling her sister. What a better way to have your debut in your home country. Also this month on the 26th of July, we have that Kitsune Stay With Me show with Sayuri Namba as the MC. That's going to be an exciting one. I will be there in person, so we'll probably get some interesting like social clips and things, and who knows what else will come out of that show. But the other interesting thing that I want to mention on the topic of Kitsune actually has a show the following month as well, on August 30th, called Kitsune Goes Hollywood. This will also be in Los Angeles, if you couldn't tell from the title of the show. There have been a couple of very fun talent announcements. At first, we had Alexis Lee announced, friend of the show, Alexis Lee. Worldwide Skelly is fully in effect here. Personally was super excited to hear this news. Very excited to reconnect with Alexis out here in LA. Really looking forward to seeing her again and seeing her on this show. And then, not to be outdone, the next talent announcement from Kitsune was none other than the casual beauty, Yuki Kamifuku. Yuki's retirement road will bring her to America once again. I am thrilled that it will be Los Angeles where I am located. Who knows, maybe this will also parlay into a couple of other American bookings as well. Kamiyu is not in the Tokyo Princess Cup, and really the only reason is because it's not that she said she didn't want to, but that's like kind of the reason, is that she opted not to be a part of it. Maybe it's because there's some other bookings lined up in America over the next month or two. I think that would be a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of momentum to get Kamiyu to wrestle in Ohio. That's something that she's wanted to do because she spent some time growing up in Ohio. She's always wanted to go back there and wrestle. So who knows, maybe that dream will come true, but super exciting. I was completely not expecting Alexis or Kamiyu for this Kitsune Goes Hollywood show. So very, very delighted by this and really looking forward to both of these shows. These are local shows for me, so definitely going to Stay With Me. More than likely will also be going to Goes Hollywood. That said, that is just about going to do it for us on this week of the Tokyo Joshi Pod. I'm going to save my cold spray and my ice packs and send them on over to Mifu Ishida, who just got the crap kicked out of her in that main event match. I think she needs it a lot more than any of us. On next week's episode, we will preview Summer Sun Princess, big time preview. That show came together really, really nicely. It's going to be a lot of fun unpacking all those matches. We are also going to make some Tokyo Princess Cup picks, and we'll have a couple special guests, so definitely stay tuned to that one next week. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss any future episodes. You can follow us at Tokyo Joshi Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you want to email the show, tokyojoshipod@gmail.com. But above all else, remember to keep your hearts burning, stay magical, my friends, and we'll see you next week on the Tokyo Joshi Pod.